They're so sharp.
We're gonna go. Hey, it's us. Look at us.
Here we are.
Howdy.
Look at us. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Anyway.
There's Matthew. All right. Didn't want to show you for a second. You were like a surprise special guest to just show up.
Special guest. The guy who's supposed to be here every time.
It's like Streamlabs is like, this asshole again? Just all right. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I hope everyone out there in Twitchland is having a good day. Nice, calm time. And I will get right up on this microphone if I have to. But
I'll do it. I've seen it.
yeah.
It only takes so much.
Just people listening to this as they're like driving to work and like, oh, and just swerve off the fucking head. Like, oh, so relaxing. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Skies of Bolarius. I am Alakazam, a podium purveyor of all things homebrew. I'll be running this fun little actual play, but I'm gonna let my incredible players go ahead and introduce themselves first. Why don't we start Well, let's go right to left this time. Omni, please tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are.
Good morning, everyone. I am the last Omnitect, your favorite robot American, and welcome to Bolarius. I'll be playing Dorian the Pale, a shapeshifter druid, and you guys can catch me on my own channel, twitch.tv/the last Omnitect. I'm live 3 times a week, including today at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., where I will be running a Mouse Guard RPG, or at least prepping for it, for later tonight, which I will also be on DMDM Studios at 7 p.m. CST, running that campaign. I also, every Thursday, have a chill breakfast session called the Breakfast Club. So that'll be at around 10:30 a.m. EST. And then on Saturdays, I do World Building Live in the Stellar Forge on my channel, where I will be working on my legacy property, and that'll be at the same time, 10:30 a.m. EST. So thank you so much, Alec. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and I'm going to figure out why Nightbot doesn't want to show your thing, but
It's all right. I'll type it in. I've already got it like saved halfway.
all
There
right.
we go.
Well, thank you, Omni, for joining us. I am looking forward to Mouse Guard. I think that's going to be dope. And
Thanks, buddy.
I was like Thursday's one of my few days off, sort of, if I'm not streaming or doing something. So I do like to check out Breakfast Club and watch and give you a hard time.
I love it, buddy.
Matthew, please tell us all about yourself.
Greetings, wizards. I'm Matthew. I'm ManDH on Twitter and Instagram, cartoonist, illustrator, and DM. I'm here hanging out with Alec every Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Not much new to report.
Well, I will say, it's still quite a ways off. Probably won't be till August, but we do have something that we started planning, which I'm very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And we have also, yes, this month, Matthew and I will be taking a short break from Appendix of Arcana. We're kind of figuring some stuff out, working on some new projects, but in the meantime, you can see us, doing Skies of Bolarius every Wednesday, and we'll figure out some other stuff that'll go up on Tuesdays as we probably get into August.
Yeah.
And Chris, please tell us all about yourself.
That's me. Hi, I'm Chris, also known as C Leverett Art on Instagram and Twitter, where I have art, mostly of fantasy characters, and here we are as some fantasy characters that may also be doing some art of. So a lot of that. And I'm here on Wednesdays doing this, and Thursday, every other Thursday, we should be getting back to doing a little bit of writing and drawing on the enchanting escapades. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I think until unless there's some other name that we find for it, enchanting escapades, where it's I'll be writing homebrew and yapping while Chris is illustrating and yapping back at me. So
Couple of yappers. 20-something years of banter here, baby.
yeah, I realized the other day because I was talking to Jessica. I was like, "Oh yeah, so I've known Chris." I was like, "Oh, 25 years," which is a terrifying thought to realize that I've been alive in this hell for that long. So
us going through the old monster manual, bring it all the way back.
yes,
here we are.
It's
Look it up.
Chris's fault that I'm into D&D because he had the monster manual and he would be like, "Look at all these monsters and draw them," and I'd be like, "Yeah, this is like a game or something. Look at all the words."
Me being a poser.
That was me as a kid too. I'd take out the same book at a library 4 times and never read it. Just look at the pictures.
Same. My God, I got the old Robotech manual. It was an expansion. I didn't even realize it. When I opened them,
Oh,
what are these pages in here? What are these tables? Why are they? How do you encounter Zentradi soldiers? How does this work? And then as I got older, I was like, Oh my god, this is a role-playing game. I picked it up when I was like 7. I had this book since then. I didn't even know.
It's this ancient tome.
I got it too.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I had this in high school. I found it in like this dirt old game store. And yeah, I would just flip through it and look at all the pictures.
Between you and me, we actually could, weirdly, run a Robotech Return of the Masters campaign. Straight up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The old Palladium
All right,
games.
let's
books.
do it
Good
right
stuff.
now. Here we go.
I would. Don't.
All right, this is now a Robotech stream. Sorry for everyone who wanted Wes. No, so we're gonna jump in. Enough fucking around. We're gonna get to Bolarius. So let's bring the vibe down. I'm gonna do this the one time. Let's explore the skies of Bolarius. Like that you already had. Okay. So last we had left off, we did a little bit of an introduction to the world and then jumped in to the adventure. We have our three amazing characters. We have Harl's Wolffoot, the woolly mammoth Loxodon, who was just trying to have a nice peaceful time to walk into town, buy some tarp and some other just stuff to patch a leak in your roof. And then Shell Drillnose, the Goblin Artificer, who was trying to get some work so that they could actually pay for, breakfast and lunch. And Dorian the Pale, the Changeling, who had escorted a rather wound tight Owlin into town. And the three of you, as you went and were trying to rest, relax, just enjoy yourselves, you saw Ekaterina of Arisbridge, this whaler who has her own airship. She seemed to be in a particularly foul mood for someone who is always in a bad mood anyway. And as she took off on her airship, you all watched as it crashed down the main thoroughfare of Arisbridge. And as you all kind of approach to see, if everything was okay and just that, you see her up on the deck. Like I said, she tosses her harpoon down into the dirt, like in frustration. But there's a loud crunch of metal in this strange little like squelch, and then a huge bubbling up of whale oil and steam, and this jet of flame strikes out like a few feet away from her. You see her eyes like go wide, and she like tries to turn to rush off of the deck of the airship, but you can see that one of her feet comes out of her like special magnetic boots that keep her from falling off the airship while it's thousands of feet in the air. The other foot won't come free as she is mag-locked down to the deck, as there's like the engine looks like it's getting ready to explode. So,
Oh, the poor baby.
what are the three of you doing?
I'm gonna slam. I think last week I'd already hopped in my mech and I was like running to the site, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna slam down the protective cockpit on my digger mech, and I'm gonna just charge in there, and I want to get my little goblin hands on that ship engine. Does it look like can I get any kind of bead from far away of like what a really vague idea of what the ship engine's condition is in, like if I can like
make an Arcana check.
Absolutely.
Anything I could get in on as far as like how if I would know if there's a way to redirect that?
Well, given your background, I'd say you can either do a history or Arcana check. I'll actually give you advantage because of your background. And then, so a 23 for Shale. Right. You you know enough about technology, especially, given your own mech and like some of the other things that you've learned. You can see that a whale oil engine, especially a cheaper one like this, it runs off of a nice like repository of whale oil, and it has all sorts of bits and bobs that help push it like aloft. And the big problem here is it seems that the actual reservoir of whale oil itself has got to have been ruptured, and it must have sparked something because it's just creating this huge jet of flame. If that isn't patched, or at the very least drained off as fast as possible, it will build up pressure until it explodes outward. And in a small town like this with a lot of like these like tin and turf buildings, that would just like blow out the entire main street here, and just like probably wreck 4 or 5 buildings in every direction.
All right. I'm gonna kick off Long Strider.
Okay.
I
will say before you get to that, for Harls, you would know essentially about the same thing. You would also know that, judging by the jet itself of flame, she probably just judging by the size of it, she probably hasn't just like refueled it. This thing is probably low, but it's still enough in there that this would be, she would be in mortal danger. And beyond that, if her boot is stuck, she cannot get at it. She cannot get off that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Shale, you said Long Strider?
Yeah. It kind of it manifests in the mech. The front, the legs kind of push forward, and there's like wheels or tank treads under them, and it's got a big stubby wheel on the back, like on its butt basically, and it like leans back and kind of into like almost like a tricycle, a 3-wheeler kind of, and like it kicks up a bunch of dirt and shoots off. I'm also, as a bonus action, going to activate my barrier, and she kind of like, as she shoots past Grandpa Wooly, she's like, I can fix it.
Just like dart forward as this, like, all of this dirt, and Harls, as you're running, there's like this just like all this dirt that's like sprayed across the front of you from this like mech just swerving down the main street, like trying to get to the airship. What's Dorian doing while all this is going on?
So let's see. This is interesting. This is a strange situation, to put it lightly. So Dorian probably doesn't know too much about whale oil engines, but he does know that fire on an engine is a bad sign, especially since he knows whale oil is highly explosive. I don't think he would know enough to really be able to figure out how fueled up it is, the potential danger, the scale of it, but I think he would be aware enough that if this thing blows up, it's probably shrapnel in everyone's faces. So he had run over in his lion form, but shape-shifted out at the end of the last session, just to sort of get there. He just used it to cross the distance quickly. So I figure he is probably trying to get the crowd back as best as he can. And I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
If this does go kablooey, would this be the sort of thing that I could use gust of wind to maybe help redirect the blast away from the people? Not stop it, but channel it?
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it, but that's something that, you could probably... Ideally, okay. let's see if we can stop it.
Let's stop it from happening. Right, exactly. This is... He's just thinking right now,
in the event of a catastrophic failure, then yes, you could use gust of wind to help redirect a lot of it. I will say, as you've wild shaped and turned to this line, rush across to try and get some of the people back. Most of the people, thankfully, were in their homes because of the rain. But the problem is they're in their homes nearby. There's a few people who you can see begin scrambling out as soon as the ship crashed. and now you can see them like running off in every direction. There's one particularly like older human man who looks like he was out delivering mail, and he sees the ship and he just full on, he's like, hit the deck, and he just like throws himself on the ground near one of the ditches, and he actually rolls into that huge super deep trench that Shale had dug out.
Oh,
But I will say, with Shale's Longstrider and you having wild shaped into a lion, the two of you get there like it's Dorian followed closely behind by Shale. Harles, you pull up just a couple of seconds behind them as Ekaterina is desperately trying to yank her foot out of the magnetic boot. You can see she is swearing up a storm and just like desperately trying to get out.
Okay. So, Dorian, as everyone starts like approaching, he sees you running by Shale and saying like, I can fix it. Yeah, you've got it. He's not even going to intervene on that. He's not going to say anything. He's just going to nod. And as Harles approaches, he's going to sort of do a quick little sign language thing, just sort of like me, and then point to our trapped friend on the deck.
Ekaterina.
Me, her. Yeah, he's got her. And
Get to her.
yeah, exactly. Since most of the people in the area seem like they're gone, and that guy is down in a trench, so hopefully if this does, he'll be relatively safe considering he's under there. We'll help him out later, if, there is later. So Dorian, out of his wild shape, will just look and think like, okay, best way to get her out. Right. I need strength. So he's going to inhale, and as he does, he's going to grow and swell and become larger. Fur will rapidly cake over his body, and slowly he'll change until he's this massive bear. Since this will be my second wild shape for the day. Or at least until I get a short rest anyway.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, going for bear!
Yeah, you shift into this bear form, and like it's enough that your size has afforded you can actually grip onto the side of the airship and pull yourself onto the deck. But we're gonna jump over to Shale. You pull up as fast as you can. Harl's like close behind you. You can see this like giant jet of flame that stretches out about 10 feet. It creates this I mean, there's something kind of beautiful about this. It's just like cone of flame firing out from one side of the engine, but you can also see on the other side where the metal has been ripped open, on the side of the engine, it's actually beginning to just like condense and like sweat off all of this moisture as like steam and is building up in the engine. You're like, okay, this thing is building up a lot of energy. If it is not released or patched up, then it's going to explode in the next like 20 seconds.
I got it. My little mech here can survive a class 3 and I blanked on my own word. But a class 3 cave-in, so she's not even sweating it. So like I'm gonna cast guidance on myself, which looks like she like shifts the machine into gear, and it kind of makes like a awful grindy noise, like when your clutch is like in between gears. It's like, and then a big click. She doesn't even slow down. She like hits a big rock like a ramp, and then like just slams into the hull and scrambles up into the hole. She's actually gonna let me see what stuff I can get to. Can I use like a do I get access to control fire, or what's it called? No, I don't see it. Okay.
Control
If I use
flames.
like it doesn't look like I get control flames. Use like the Ray of Frost cantrip to like kind of dampen the flames enough for me to get in without without getting burned.
You begin like your mech begins like firing off these like little blasts of cold at this like jet of flame to try and like divert it away a little bit, but also like start patching up that little section. I'll say
Yeah.
make a sleight of hand check. I'll give you advantage since you have the ray of frost helping you.
Oh, okay. I also get my my guidance on that too.
Yes, that's true.
Sleight of hand. Ooh. And then a D4. Okay.
21. So, you like dive in and begin trying to, first off, let off some of the pressure in a safe way, but also like make some very fast repairs. And the flame itself, like it diverts down to the ground and like begins to slowly pull back. There's a bit of a complication, which is that you have begun to let off some of the pressure and begin to repair it, but all of the frost building up alongside, like extreme heat on metal followed by extreme cold, builds up some like steam and pressure, and it begins to
Thermal
like
expansion.
harden, and it's like, huh, and there's like a swell, and you can hear this like crunch and bend of metal, and you can see like, thankfully Dorian is like trying to grab Ekaterina as she's like trying to yank her boot off of the deck, but it's like she is swearing a lot louder now as it seems to just like a big pipe bursts and like moves. You've mostly repaired it, but it's still a little bit of an issue. But that'll actually bring us over to Harls. What are you doing
Thermal expansion. I wasn't thinking.
as you run up?
I think Charles he knows Dorian pretty well, so he knows Dorian can handle themselves. So since Charles has some history with these ships, he doesn't really know this goblin too well yet. He's gonna rush over there and try to see how he can get in there. While he's running over, he's gonna pull out this like jar of orange or like green algae. He kind of quickly like douses over himself, which is we're gonna call that absorb elements for fire. Just kind of like a flame retardant type of thing, knowing that he's gonna be going in that action. I don't know. So, do we need to stop the flames before we can patch it, or is this a flex seal situation where I can throw some?
Well, I think it would help to like relieve the pressure because I can do the fixing, but we need to like relieve the pressure that's building.
Okay.
The big thing
Would
is
my
that
previous history check roll over into that?
I will say yes, there is still a bit of like fire coming out, and the thing is, it needs to be patched, but someone needs to basically get to where it's ripped open and there's like flame shooting out. So it needs to be patched where there's actively fire coming out. So the absorb elements will definitely help you there.
So I'm kind of hastily trying to slap this thing back together.
Yeah. So I'd say if you're gonna go and make some quick repairs, at least so that Shale can finish like letting off the pressure and finalizing the repairs before this thing blows. In that case, make a actually for this, I'll say you can either do what tools are you proficient in?
I am proficient in carpenter's tools,
Carpenter's tools.
which I
So I would say you can either do a carpenter's tools check because you do have some basic stuff with you, and or you could do a sleight of hand check.
okay. How do I do a carpenter's tools check?
So
You can click on.
what I always say for tools is you can either do strength or dexterity or intelligence or wisdom. You choose one of those 4 stats and then add your proficiency. Whatever you think would fit that tool the best. I always do it that way because you can't use your charisma with tools and you can't use your constitution with tools. But anything else is pretty much fair game.
I think if you click on the tool, you should be able to like set up a roll for it too now.
Yeah, thankfully, D&D Beyond, please sponsor
Use
us.
tool.
It has options for that. And we'd love to talk more about it if you sponsored us, D&D Beyond. In the meantime, whatever. So I'd say just make a ability check with whichever you think would be appropriate, because I'm not seeing a roll here.
Yeah. Okay. So you said I combined my modifier of either intelligence and wisdom or strength and dexterity?
Well, you choose one of those
Okay.
4 and then add your proficiency.
One of them. Okay. We'll go with his wisdom. He's a wise old man.
Okay.
He's seen this kind of stuff before. All right.
So wisdom check and then add your proficiency, which should be a +2.
Oh. All right.
Okay. And then with your proficiency, so 17, you move in, and the absorb elements is certainly going to help. Just from the sheer fact of this, you are going to take some fire damage to like just push yourself over, but the absorb elements wicks away the worst of it and protects you from like really nasty burns. You actually are going to take 3 fire damage, as it like begins to scorch your hands. But you take some of the tools that you have that you keep with you in your nice little bindle and like bend some of the metal down and like move it and patch it up enough that you can like take some of that new tar that you had to repair your roof and slap it over.
Yeah, I just got tar and roof tiles, so we got that on us. Yeah.
So little bit of a sacrifice for that, but I'm sure you can convince Ekaterina to pay you back for it. But you slap it over, and thankfully there's no more flames spraying out. And right now there's just a little bit of pressure still building, but it's almost repaired. In the meantime, Dorian, you can see Ekaterina, and you see Harls and Shale like trying their best to repair the engine. Meanwhile, she's like pulling herself up. I would say, if you're trying to just wrench her free, or are you just trying to like rip her boot off the deck, or just yank her out of the boot?
I think it would be to remove the boot from the deck. I did also want to mention, I'm not sure if you meant it, but the channel's on Just Chatting as the current topic. I don't know whether that was what you wanted it, or whether you wanted it to be on D&D or role-playing. Okay.
I'm just chatting. We're just having a good time.
You're cool. You're
Hanging
cool.
out.
Yeah. Anyhow, as he sort of like lopes closer, I think what he's going to try to do is use his strength as a bear to ram his claws underneath, because I'm assuming the bottom of that boot is like metal, right? It's like a metal plate. Okay. He's going to see if he can't try to get his claws underneath it and just use it to wrench it off. Like, if she falls, she's, I'm sure, able to tuck and roll. Yeah. Like, worst case, I break the deck. But,
make an athletics check, obviously using the bear stats.
Yep. All right, so athletics check. Just going to make sure we're on the right page. This thing's got like a million of these. All right, so this is going to be interesting. Could you maybe open up the page I'm looking for? Okay, thanks. There we go. So Bear's current stats, that would be strength of 19, so +4 modifier. Has no other modifiers for athletics. And Dorian himself has no modifier for athletics. So this is just a d20 +4. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it. D20 +4, whatever I roll. So that's nice. 21.
Oh yeah, in your bear form, you realize, okay, you will have an easier time literally ripping up the decking and yanking like the metal around the boot, and pulling that away from the deck as opposed to like trying to separate the magnet. So you like slam your claws in and rip the actual metal enough that it wrenches free, and she very unceremoniously just like and just like tumbles over the back of you and like goes slamming off the deck onto the ground. And you can see she like hits the ground like a little dazed, but just fuck, and just like gets up and starts like I don't know if you've ever run with one heavy boot on and nothing on the other foot.
Yes.
But she's like
Oh,
doing
it's
the
the worst.
limping, like, yeah, like just trying to get out
Part
of
of
it.
a deck attached too.
Well, it's like a little like
She's got like a small like one
round,
by one
jagged
chunk.
section.
Yeah.
But you've ripped the decking free, and you can see that Harl's is mostly patched. The huge jet of flame is now like burned down to nothing. But you can see her like running to get to a safe place, which seems to be that ditch that Shale had dug out. But you can also see one other new complication, which is all of the farmers with their nice little sheeps, like just off past the little trench. All those sheeps are just running away, off, escaping, and you can see farmers screaming as like their entire livelihood is beginning to run away.
All right. Boy, they're making this rough. So I just need to take a look at this very quick. Okay. So watching all the animals running away, which Dorian, in his bear form, again, not a normal bear. Like, he's not really a brown bear. He's a bear spirit, so much more bright and colorful. Think like the spirit of the forest in Mononoke, where it's like, that is obviously not a natural animal by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm sure that would be less terrifying for the sheep.
Oh no, far more terrifying, I'm sure. As like this giant craning creature like turns its head and its eyes, which are Dorian's eyes, inset in like a pale white face, ringed in like purple and green fur, sort of like watches as it happens. And then the bear's face makes this expression of, like literally rolling his eyes, and slowly slides off the deck and lands on its 2 feet, sort of doing that awkward circus bear thing. Begins slowly plodding over towards the sheep, and then beginning to transform back into Dorian with every step, Animorph style, till he's just Dorian running. And he's going to cast... Yeah. I do love the idea of just like the bear walking, getting better at walking as his legs turn into something like human. And he's going to, as he's running after the sheep, cast Speak with Animals on himself. And just sort of as he does so, open his mouth and, like, to anyone else, it would just be, bah, like, literally, like, sheep call.
I ran you.
Yeah, exactly. But he's just saying, sheep, this way, safety! And he's pointing behind one of the houses nearby to be like, maybe if you go here, you'll not die.
Make an animal handling check. I'll give you advantage because you're speaking their language.
Hell yeah. Okay, so this is +5 base.
Meanwhile, the sheep are like, what the fuck is a sheep?
That's our word.
Alright, so roll that. And I roll again, because of advantage. 19 after modifier.
Okay. You take off toward the sheep to begin to calm them down. They like begin to like turn and face back towards you. Sheep are stupid. They're very stupid. They truly, like, some shepherds will literally have to pull their heads up out of water while they're drinking because they will drown themselves. Right? Like, sheep are dumb as hell. So once anyone sort of intelligent is beginning to, oh my god, things have gone from bad to worse.
Oh god!
All right,
such a good joke.
So anyway, that really got me. Once you like begin to tell them what to do, they're like, "Oh, an intelligent person telling us what to do? Sure, we will gladly listen." Like they coalesce to you pretty immediately. I'm going to jump real fast back to Shale. Now, you can see that the flame has died down. Harls is quickly patching it next to you. You can see little bits of his fur that are like singed as he's like trying to patch it. There's still the tiniest bit of pressure building up, but right now you do see like a few valves that you could like release to let off the worst, so that this whale oil doesn't just like grow and still blow out. It's but you guys have done really well. This could have gone much worse. So what
Yeah.
is
Imagine
Shale?
we're having that moment of like, we're starting to groove here, and you're like, give me that tool, you gotta get over there. Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna
a
do
ballet.
I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna finish this thing off. It's like, oh no, baby's got a bellyache. Don't worry, I got you. And I'm like kind of pulling levers and stuff, and I'm gonna pull out my all-purpose tool, and she plugs it into the dash of this thing and turns it like a key, and then like the claws rescend into the arms, and then out of the arms come all these like these little spindly tool arms, and she's gonna turn some of the knobs, and then like start and then just like patch just do all the patchwork on it to like seal it back up completely.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
I'd say just to make some basic patches like that, I will actually let you decide what tools are you proficient in, which should be a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, leather workers, navigators, smith tools, thieves tools, tinkers tools.
I'd say make a smith or a tinker's tools check. Yeah, make a smith or a tinker's tools check.
All right. Using my all-purpose as the toolkit. 20.
20. So you go and begin patching this thing up, and as you do, the pressure begins to let off. One of the valves opens up, and the one of the little jets of this like steam coming off of the whale oil, like it goes like right by your head, but then it slowly begins like tea kettle style, like release off. There's a couple last little like gurgles and crunching of metal, and then just as the engine just completely powers down, and with a last like little this valve on the bottom pops open, and all the whale oil left in the reservoir just dumps out the bottom, like all onto the ground of the main street.
Nice.
Woo!
Whew.
Kind of leans
Like,
back in the
sit away.
in the cockpit, just. Ooh.
You handled yourself well in there.
Thanks, Grandpa Wooly. My papa used to let me fix the airship engine back when I was a little gobbo.
All right. You'll have to show me how to use one of them tools there. That's something else. My big old fingers have some trouble with them fiddly bits.
Oh yeah, let's go.
What's Dorian up to over there? He's playing with sheep now.
Oh, you could probably see me literally like in the distance, like an air traffic controller, just kind of like this way, this way, no, this way. Like as a sheep wanders to the left, like grab its head gently and steer it in front of him. Nope, keep going. But he's speaking entirely in sheep. I figure when he's doing so, like his face has like slightly shifted and taken on like a different shape, slightly more animalistic. So like not fully, he's not like fully sheep face, but he's got like that kind of like like literally almost every time he uses like his shape-shifting powers in any way, shape, or form, it's like Animorphs, and he'll just pause in whatever level of transformation is beneficial to him. So he's just got like a slightly longer face, and as he's speaking, pretty competently in like that bawing, like sort of ewing sound that sheeps do. Wow, what on earth? Sorry, mustache hair decided to just pop itself in my mouth.
Transformation!
Yeah, so he's slowly like directing them to go this way, and sort of like he understands that they're not smart. It doesn't mean he has a lot of patience for them. And so just occasionally guiding them along and trying to stay calm while he waves to the townsfolk, be like, "It's okay, I've got them. I've got them." Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. He's just over there doing that.
Well, you begin to direct them. I'd say Harles and Shell, you can see the ship is not in great shape. This thing will need some major repairs, where the entire bow of the ship, like, and the entire underside has been ripped away from where it just like slammed into the dirt and then just like shoved itself forwards by like, you know, close to 100 feet, just like, and like the big sections of the hull have been ripped clean. And then the engine, with all the repairs you had to do and with all of the like burning and this and that, is just not ruined, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's like more than half of this is going to have to be replaced, and the decking has been ripped up. This airship is close to totaled. You can see off by one of the ditches, Ekaterina is there, and she's like on the ground, and she finally yanks the boot off of her leg and like throws it, and this like boot just goes foo, 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 and the like force of yanking it off is enough that and she rolls and slams into the ditch, which is much deeper than she expected. It's about 5 feet deep.
Legs.
What are you guys doing playing in my hole? I just dug that.
But the entire bottom of it, since it's been raining this whole time, is now mud, and she just and there's like that soft bit of like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm not even gonna get up. Like that just total like, I have given up. But for Jael and Harles, is the two of you like walk away from the engine now that it is completely, you know, got to the point that it is no longer in danger. The bartender from the Happy Welltooth comes out. Like a couple other people are like coming out to see what all of the commotion is, and one of the shepherds like comes out and can see Dorian like redirecting the sheep, and they thankfully are able to like move in now that it's no longer in danger that they have to run away from their home. And they kind of take over and thank you. He actually goes and he's going to hand you a silver for keeping his sheep from completely running free.
He takes it, and his face slowly shifts back in his normal mouthless form. Flips it over. Then he nods, eyes smiling, and takes it and sort of puts it into one of his pouches. He knows that like this is just how he sort of interacts with the townsfolk. He comes in, he does favors. They'll throw him coin. He's long since learned there's not much point arguing. They'll give it to him if they want to give it to him. So he takes it, puts it in his pouch, and lets them have at it. And slowly walks back towards the smoldering, shattered airship. Can we call it an airship, or is it just ship now? Because that's not going in the air anytime soon.
It's just a giant hunk of metal down the main road that has taken up most of the main road. And
Artist formerly known as airship.
Yes. Oof.
And I will say, you know, as you are out there, it's like you have to pass across the ditch. You can see Ekaterina lying in the bottom of it, and she's just like looking up at the sky. She's horrible if you're out there. You could just hit me with a bolt of lightning and kill me right now. She sees you pass by, and she gives like this little half nod and like pulls herself up from all the mud, and like she like throws her arm over the side and like yanks herself out of the ditch. Yeah, the guy who
Carl would kind of walk up and kind of towering over, sort of casting a shadow, like, all right, enough wallowing there, and kind of reach out a hand to help her up.
She'll take it. Thank you. And she looks over at Shale and Dorian and Harles. Thank you. Really. She
Dorian nods.
Kind of sees her wrecked airship. Oh, all my money.
What happened to it, Captain? Why did it almost blow up?
And she just kind of shakes her head. And you can see that, she, like I said, she's covered in mud. She's like banged up from the crash and then from like tumbling off of the ship and then like falling down into the ditch. And now, like in the rain, which is beginning to pick up a bit, she just. It's been too long since I've gotten a whale. She reaches into her pack and she like pulls through, and you can hear a couple of coins clinking around, not a lot. But she takes out a couple of things, and in Bolarius, especially in Arisbridge, like copper and silver is the most common. Even if you have to pay like a lot, most people just don't carry around gold. Gold is rare enough that it's really only for the major cities, and like really rich people have gold. But she actually takes out 6 gold pieces. Gives each of you 2 gold pieces.
Oh, that's not necessary.
No, I
She looks at it like a new piece, nice piece of candy. Like, ooh,
and
holds it.
she holds the hand. Please, I saw, and she points back to where you had like used your nice new like tar and shingles and whatnot to patch together her engine.
Blackened hands.
Like, keep it. And she looks out and slowly, resigned, she just heads back to the airship to begin trying to break it down so that she can drag it out of the main street, because she'll get in trouble if it's here just blocking everyone's way. And just dejectedly in the rain, just like, and like takes out some tools and begins to like take apart some of the pieces so she can like figure out a way to pull this piece by piece out of the road.
Dorian's gonna jog over after looking at the gold pieces in his hand. After like a couple seconds, like quietly jog over, and then as she's like hands on the thing, take one of her hands, hold it out, take the 2 gold pieces and put them back in, close her hand around it, and then point to the airship and then to her. And then like silently go and begin like helping her drag it.
Charles will follow suit too.
She'll
Like,
walks past you too as you're having this moment, and it's just like looking at some bigger part, and she's like, "You don't need this, right?" The little tool arms come out again, like.
Have to get rid of this junk if you need.
she kind of closes her hand around the coin. She looks at you. I don't like being in debt, but she kind of accepts it and puts the coins back. And if you guys are helping her take this apart, why don't each of you can do either athletics or acrobatics to help take this apart.
Oh, athletics. Athletics for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go athletics, and then with the Loxodon ability, where I can.
Yeah, you can move like
can pull
twice as much as.
Yeah, kind of override. Here we go. Dig into the mud. Athletics. What do you think?
I'll give you
just
advantage.
A lower DC or advantage?
I'll
Okay.
give you advantage.
Wish I'd stayed in my bear form. Just flat D20, whatever that is. A 14.
You would have scared away all of them sheep if you had stayed in your bear.
I know. Well, that's the case. Then I would have just herded them the old-fashioned way, played, herd dog for a while. But I figure bear not that fast compared to like wolf. That'd be the dire wolf's job more. Damn.
Dirty 20.
Well, like I said, you have advantage. It'd be the 21.
Oh yeah, 21. There we go.
Okay, we have 14 and
so
21.
I can add my intelligence modifier to this.
Yes.
So, +3. 22.
Fantastic. Well, I will say, Dorian and Ekaterina begin like lifting off pieces and moving some stuff around, and the biggest, heaviest parts, the engines, the some of the like rigging and like other pieces and bits, like the really, really heavy stuff. You can see she doesn't even attempt, but like Shale's like mech is able to like grab big chunks and pull them off. It's like, and I will say, you probably are able to take a couple of things for yourself because it's at scrap metal at this point. But,
Yeah. There's always like little bits and bobs where I'm like, can I keep this? Can I keep this? Do you need this?
helping someone move.
after like the third or fourth time you ask, Ekaterina is like, just take fucking whatever, and she's just like covered in mud and like it's pouring down rain, and she's just like trying to toss shit like
Thank you.
behind some of the buildings at least to get it out of the road. But Harles, you're able to like break the engine down into like, you know, 2 pieces, and you like and like lift up this giant piece over your shoulder and begin like hefting it out of the road. It takes actually with how well you all rolled, I'll say it takes you guys maybe about an hour to get it all out of the road. Once it's like gotten the heaviest pieces out, you can literally like drag and push. A couple other people in Arisbridge come to help like push this thing out of the road. You can see finally Ekaterina's like seems to be picking up her mood a bit, and she seems very surprised that all of you are helping and some of the other townsfolk are helping, but she is appreciative. And once it's all pushed aside, there's this just collection of metal and junk and like pieces off near one of the buildings, actually just past the general store is like this open space before there's another couple buildings. So it's just like, oh yeah, it's like we have the tavern and the general store and a giant hunk of smoldering metal, and then we have this building like, and
kids are going to be playing on it soon. Well, did we say there's not many kids around?
There's there's a few kids in town, like probably less than 20.
Okay.
Shale's gonna organize the more salvageable parts of the engine into like a disassembled like array on the grass.
Shale begins like knolling out all the pieces of like organizing them by like size and type, you know. Which, folks, that's what it's called when you take like a whole table and you like put all the pieces. It's called knolling. Now you know.
Oh.
Learn that from Adam Savage.
Thank you, Adam Savage / Alec.
Can always count on you.
But with all of that, all of you are tired, wet, muddy, you know. And Ekaterina like looks around at the crowd, which now is probably about 15 people, and she looks back in her pouch and she takes out the 2 gold that Dorian had given back, and she holds it up. All right, drinks and food on me, and everyone's like, woo! And like goes to the happy well to at which the bartender is more than happy to serve all of you. And it's getting enough into the day. Like at this point, it's a little, you know, it's past noon. You know, people have really just like, this has been the big job for the day, and people are more than happy to relax and get some food. You can all take a short rest. If you like.
Yes, please.
The bartender serves this you know, this lamb stew that is like rich with all of these like root vegetables and lamb, and it's like a thick, almost like chowder-esque stew. Very delicious, very hearty. And Ekaterina sits down and she like goes through her pack, and you can see she pulls out like a couple empty potion bottles until she finally has one that has like the little tiny collection in the bottom, and like uncorks it and drinks this like basic healing potion to like close up all of the like scuffs and scrapes and like sections where it looks like she might have like really pulled a couple of things, like trying to move all the shit around, and it closes up the worst like little scratches, and some of the bruises begin healing up as she like just sits and she looks over to the 3 of you especially. Thank you. She like looks back out the window at all the wreckage. If you ever want more work, I'm gonna need help putting it all back together.
Ooh, ooh.
And she like looks at you, and she kind of looks back in her pack. As long as you don't mind waiting to be paid.
Mm, yeah, it's been a while since I got to get my hands on an airship engine, and I've asked. So, as long as you don't mind me touching everything, then I'm your goblin.
Yeah, this one did good in there. We were in a real pinch there, and she pulled through mighty fine.
Thank you, Grandpa Wooly.
Dorian nods excitedly and sort of does that sort of like point over at Shale, thumbs up kind of gesture.
You can see nearby at a small table, there's a man who did not help. He actually like went into the tavern past all of you and like sat down and started eating and drinking like while the town was like bound, helping together to like pull this airship out of the main road. He's like, no, I'm just gonna relax, and he's like been watching all of this unfold, drinking the whole time. And he's drinking in the middle of the day, and he's got a few glasses empty. Well, these like I said, metal cups, but he's got a few cups empty on his table. It's a it's this human man in his like maybe late 60s, and he yeah, good luck getting paid working for her. Hasn't even found a whale in over a year. And he like pours one back. You can see her like ripping the bar enough that like you can almost hear her like knuckles like going white with rage, and she's like like trying not to go flying off the handle and like knocking this dude out, but she's just
Shale like stands on her chair and puts her hands on the table, and she's like, "How many whales you found, you old you hurt old bitch?" I could
No, bitch.
make an intimidation check.
Oh, I'm good at those. I'm just a little goblin.
Arl's is gonna put his burnt hand on Ekaterina. Don't pay him no mind.
In there it is. Sometimes it takes me 14. Oh,
Well,
just a little goblin.
I will say with the 14, I mean the man he's got that drunk confidence where it's like he just says something, but as soon as he's like called out, he just kind of and like turns like literally back to you completely as he just like
realizes I'm talking drunk. Maybe I should shut up.
I sit back down and grab my cup of whatever, and I'm just like, gotcha.
Are you like the toddler in the booster seat at the table right now with your mag?
I feel like I'm going to use my magical tinkering ability to make a booster seat.
Well,
Perfect.
If only they had a phone book. All right. Well, I will say, Ekaterina, she is furious, and like Carl's is coming to her, but like with you like jumping up to her defense, she kind of like looks back in her pack really quick, and she takes out a couple of copper and puts it on the bar. And she's like, "Yeah, another bowl for my goblin friend here."
Dorian, like the entire time this has happened, has been sitting there, like he'd been nursing a mug, I assume, of just like whatever fruit juice is available at the time. And every time that like something happens where the guy smokes up, he goes like slowly to raise his finger, and his mouth begins to form, and then Shale jumps up and says something, and then he just lowers his hand, and then he turns to try to console her, and then Wooly puts his hand on, and he's just like, like just stays quiet and keeps drinking.
Ekaterina kind of finally at all of this looks to all of you. I'll find a whale. Once I do, if I have to throw my harpoon from the ground, I'll take it down. She smiles at the three of you, and well, like I said, I can't pay you until I get some more coin, but if you can help, I will pay you. I don't like to be in debt. And she'll pick up her harpoon and kind of stumble out, and she begins to head back to her small home in Arisbridge, just like, all right, I'm done for the day.
Dorian slowly turns towards the two of you, and his the mouth splits and appears as he speaks. Well, I'm interested. I don't know about you.
I was gonna work on that engine whether she asked me to or not.
She's a proud woman, and I hate to see her. I hate to see her down in the dumps like that. If I can.
I've always wanted to see a skywell.
Oh yeah, they're like big, right?
Massive. Never got to see one. Originally wanted to help whalers, but there weren't any where I was.
You ever seen a whale, Grampy?
Got close, but never got my shot.
Grandpa Jed used to talk about getting whales and stuff. He said he parked our old airship right on top of one's head. But Grandpa Jed used to lie a lot, so
Jed's full of shit. I know him.
Oh, you know Grandpa
Talks a
Jed?
lot.
You know Grandpa Jadeite?
The bartender kind of looks at the three of you, and they've been kind of half eavesdropping, but also just kind of like making sure everyone is fed and this and that, and refilling drinks, and Ekaterina's like the gold she put down is going to cover everybody at the bar for like pretty much as you'd like to eat or drink, and he kind of leans over, and she's had some rough luck. It's been about at least a year since she's caught a whale. There was a string where she took down 3 in 1 year.
Ooh. I'll lean into Grandpa Willie. Is that a lot?
It's a lot, yeah.
Okay.
I would say that Harls and probably even Dorian, but Harls especially would know that like 3 in 1 year is insane. Like whalers could go years and maybe take down one. Like, an average whaler could be out for 5 years, 10 years and take down 1 or 2 whales. To take down 3 in a year, especially like if she had a crew that would fit on her tiny airship, it's like that's really impressive. But he kind of goes on. Well, the problem is she only got to keep one of them. Mary Kell took the other 2.
Who's that? Who's Mary Co? Like she keeps like leaning into Grandpa Wooly and asking him questions like, who's that?
And the bartender,
Listen up. He's talking. He's telling the story right now. You gotta listen. I can't tell you if he's talking right now.
Dorian raises an eyebrow. Dorian raises an eyebrow the rock style as he's listening to both sides of this.
Maybe if we'll listen, we'll find out.
We're watching the movie together, yeah.
The bartender kind of leans in. She's a pirate. She's actually the worst one.
Ooh.
Can I have heard of her? Because what are we talking about?
Make a history check.
Can I
Okay.
get in on that too?
Yes, I'd say actually the 2 of you can make it with advantage given your backgrounds.
Ooh.
Okay. So
I'm fine with not having any idea. It's fine.
it's going to be
Shale
advanced
doesn't
dice roll.
It's
2d20.
Purely listening to story time, though.
her interests are very narrow, so she doesn't know much
14.
about whales or.
Did we both roll the same roll?
Sure did. We gave a knowing look over to each other, like, oh, yes.
It's like, same level of knowledge. Don't know how extensive it is, but we don't.
We've had this conversation before. We are sharing the same knowledge.
Probably, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just remembering the comic of like same hat, like the two guys waving at each other. So both of you have heard of Mary Kell, and the thing is, in Bolarius, it's like there are some people who are not content to just sit around and fish or shepherd or like work on work a field or do like basic labor. There are some people who are not content even to just be normal whalers. There are some people who have looked out at the world that is slowly dying around them and said, you know what, fuck it, I'll just take whatever I want. The nastiest of all of these is Mary Kell. And Mary Kell is not just a pirate. She is, for all intents and purposes, the pirate queen. She is the big head honcho, the big cheese. This is a nasty woman. And beyond that, she also is one of the few people in all of Bolarius. And in a dying world like this, where people have put aside their differences to just eke out an existence for as long as the world will hold them, for as long as Warble will watch over the skies, people will fight, but they won't kill each other. That's extremely rare. It's only in the most dire self-defense that will happen. Mary Kell has cold-blooded murdered multiple people, which is extremely unheard of. It's about as close to a dastardly villain as Bolarius gets. And the thing is, Mary Kell, if she's taken a couple of whales from this woman, it's like you begin to understand why Ekaterina is in such a foul mood all the time, because it's like, oh yeah, one whale could make you rich. Having 2 whales stolen from you, you see why she's bitter.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
That's like 2 fortunes worth of.
Yeah. That is literally 2 gold rushes worth of like stuff stolen from.
Oh yeah, imagine the situation of like her doing all the work and then Mary Kell swooping in for the
exactly. It is known that like some of the pirates that are around will literally watch the skies and like they'll trail behind some whales until they see a whaler take a whale down, and then they'll swoop in and steal all the stuff. At like or wait till it's like a whale's like, okay, I've loaded up with like loaded up my airship with the stuff that I can carry, but I have to make like 4 or 5 or more trips back to this whale because it's so much I can't carry all of it. But while they go off on their first trip, the pirates take everything that's left.
They're like the kaiju poachers in Pacific Rim. They all just like move in like a swarm, clean the body before anyone can really stop them, and then just bail.
Yeah,
that's terrible. Dorian gives like a knowing nod to Harls, and then turns back to the barkeep. And she's thinking of going back out there.
He kind of shrugs. Everyone's got to make a living.
Man, stealing another digger's find, like, that ain't right. Unless it's the Radic ore blasting company, then yeah, steal from them.
You can see he kind of shakes his head, and there's a man in the corner of the bar who has like this nice suit, a nice little bowler hat. He actually has like little pince-nez glasses. It's an Owlin man, and he actually works for the Radic ore blasting. He's the guy that you can see in the building that has to like climb over the desk in the little, and he kind of, what was that? What? Huh?
Nothing. No.
Isn't that?
And,
no, I don't. Nope.
And he just kind of Goes back to his soup, like.
Well, that just makes me want to go more.
Well, it's getting late in the day now. You've spent a couple hours, relaxing after having spent over an hour, like, moving this airship. There's a couple people in town who have begun to, like, especially with the mud, it's not too hard to kind of, like, push the earth back down and, like, tamp down the main road. But, there's a couple who are still working at trying to, like, smooth it out so that, like, carts and carriages can get past. Still a little uneven from where it just left this huge gash in the main road from where her airship crashed.
It's still raining?
At this point, the rain has stopped. And it is getting late in the day, enough that, at this point, it's early evening, about time to begin heading back for each of you, to get some rest.
Dorian, the shapeshifter at the counter nods and slowly puts the coinage he would need to. He'd put a whole silver across, since he's gotten one earlier anyway, and he doesn't really feel like he kind of earned that, or didn't really need to anyway. So he's gonna take a whole silver, press it across the counter towards the barkeep, then turns towards Arles and Shale, and nods. I plan on finding her tomorrow and telling her I'm interested. If you want to join me, by all means. I'll meet you two back here, if you'd like. Sometime around daybreak.
Oh yeah, I'll be out poking around in the scrap pile. Come get me.
I can head on back, bring out some real tools this time. Hopefully, a little bit more work on that for her.
He smiles and nods. It's a pleasure, both of you. Fair travels. And he slowly starts walking towards the door and heads out into the afternoon.
Well,
Harles is going to turn back to Shale more times. Like, hey, yeah, good work today, kid. Handled yourself well. Flip her one of the gold coins that he was getting earlier.
Oh, she like catches it like, oh, cool.
Like you can get
No,
some
thanks.
more use for all your toys, so that I can.
Well, thanks, Grandpa Wooly. Willikers. Also, I didn't know you knew your way around an airship engine. I saw you patching stuff up in there too. Like, I know someone who knows something when I see him.
It's been some time since I've been on one of them. But yeah, I still got some tricks. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
She like does a big stretch and a yawn. She's like, all right, good night. And like hops into the mech and kind of kicks one of the levers, and it kind of rattles to life and kind of lumbers over to where it was sitting in the morning, while she kind of is just like leaning back in it.
Get a very strong biker girl vibe from you. Like that kind of like the person who's like fixed up an old Harley and that chug sound as you like kick up the kickstand and putter away.
Ooh, yeah.
I was literally imagining if you took a tank girl, but she was just a little goblin, just a little silly goblin.
And a little nicer, a hair kinder.
Yeah, like I said, it's just if tank girl was like, oh, me? I'm just a little cutie.
Little guy.
It's a little scamp, yeah.
It's a little scam.
Like I said, I think last episode you referred to Shale as a ragamuffin, and I'm like, yes, like that is exactly.
If ever there was one, yeah.
Yeah. That's apt. I'm gonna stick with that, definitely.
Now, as you head back and Dorian, you begin to head
Here you
back
go.
to your home in town. Well, not in town, but nearby.
Right.
The huge silkworm cocoon that you have. And,
Yeah.
Harles, you begin to head back. Once you're outside, you can see, for Harles, Frizzlepfeffer, your wonderful little owl. They they take off from your shoulder and they like and land on top of the huge pile of metal that is like what's left of this airship. This will take probably a couple of weeks to repair, to really put together and prop up, because you have to like make a whole like actual rig to like hold it up and like put all the metal back and do all this. This is a big project, but you can see your owl kind of like lands on the and just gives like a soft like ooh.
Charles, he gives a bit of a sigh. He nods. I hear you, girl. I understand. Let's go home.
And you begin to walk back to your... And a couple hours later, the three of you find yourselves drawn by fate, coincidence, some innate feeling, but the three of you, at the same moment, find yourselves looking up at the sky. Dorian, you can see open, just star-patched sky with the nice soft clouds rolling through. And from your nice little room that you have out the wilderness, you know, you get this glimpse and you can see one star off in the blackness that twinkles brightly. Now you've spent your days as a primalist, out living in nature, communed.
Yeah.
This star is different from it. It has this glimmer that catches your eye. And it's hard to tell the night sky. For many, it's just an endless field. But you have this deep, innate, strange feeling in the pit of your stomach that you have never seen that star there before.
So, Dorian's sitting, and the cocoon itself is probably like, I'd say, I mean, it's big for a cocoon. I like the idea that, like, at some point it was, you know, a silkworm would lived in it and then just turned into a giant moth and flew away. And he just kind of took it afterward. He might have even communicated with the silkworm and be like, hey, when you're gone, can I have this? And the silkworm probably would have been like, yeah, whatever. No, I don't need it. And so, like, for the most part, it is just this cocoon, and one side of it has resin that he sort of plastered over to make a window. That's what he's looking up out of now. And he's probably sitting on a cushion made out of a combination of fur and hay. Not fur from, like, a hide. Fur that he's, like, found over time and bound together. And so, as he's sitting there looking up at it, cocks his head to the side, sort of looks at it, and internally, like, he doesn't speak very much when he's on his own, but, like, in his own head, sort of that, well, that's new. And he's going to open up a little satchel next to him and pull out a sketch pad made of compressed leaves and sort of just, like, flip through it and hold it up and see if he can recognize the constellation that it's in. And then, realizing it's probably not there, take a moment and just sort of, like, try to commune for a second, see if he can discern some greater purpose or meaning out of it, if it's an omen or something.
I'd like you to actually make a wisdom save for me.
Wisdom save. Okay, perfect. So that would be +5, d20 +5. Just 1d20. Not 3d20, +5. There you go.
I'm
Roll.
gonna run to the restroom real quick with your thing.
Okay.
An 8, actually. Yikes. Very few things save a 3.
You're not sure what this is. There's a strange feeling that washes over that, like I said, you haven't seen the star before. this glimmering image out in the night sky, but you feel deeply affected by it. You actually have a very difficult time getting to sleep that night. When you finally do, it's almost into the early hours of the morning, and when you wake, it's about an hour later than usual. Can't shake feeling this like sense of something there is different, and look back up at the sky. It's like you don't see it. There's just clouds and open air, but something about it to you affected you. Now I'm going to jump real quick back to Shale as you're sitting in your mech for the evening and resting, relaxing. You had a good day. You got some work done. You got to steal a bunch of engine parts. You
She absolutely stuffed herself at the dinner. Like she didn't even. She's too lazy to even set up her hammock, so she's just like scrunched up in the mech cockpit.
And you just are like, oh yeah, sit and relax. And you see this like, bing, little bright shiny star off in the sky that calls your attention. Now you've probably not taken a lot of time to appreciate the stars. You're not sure if it's ever been there or not been there, but something about this one affects you. Notice it off in the sky, and it seems to just sparkle brighter than any of the other stars that surround it.
I'm gonna use my all-purpose tool. I think I keep changing the name of it, but I'm gonna use my multi-tool. It looks like a Swiss Army knife made out of like pipes, and she kind of folds it around into different configurations. I'm gonna change it into navigator's tools to maybe try to. I'm almost like thinking like a telescope.
Okay.
To kind of get a look at it with that.
For that, I would say make a navigator's tools check. Yeah.
I am proficient in them, but I think also the all-purpose tool lets me have my proficiency regardless. Hey, stop! He's bumping my monitor. Let's make it everything shake.
Nice.
You look out.
Oh, that's too much.
And like I said, you haven't really taken time to appreciate the stars like this. The people in town you can see, are winding down. Most of them have gone to bed by this point. No one else seems to notice as you see this star glimmering, and you use your little navigator tool, the little sextant, to kind of and see just what it is. And all you can tell is this is a glimmering little spot in the sky, but you see it begin to radiate, and it almost reminds you of the engine, of it building up in pressure. And as before you're ready to close your eyes, you can feel yourself drifting off to sleep because it is getting late and you're getting very tired, and you look up at it and you can see it and then it kind of is glowing and just looking and sparkling down on you, and you finally fall asleep. You wake up as the first light begins to hit the town, in the morning, and you wake up probably about on time of what you expected. You can still smell the smoke and whale oil from Ekaterina's ship, a few less than 100 yards probably from where your mech is. But we're gonna jump real quick over to Harl's. Now, for you head back, you quickly patch your roof. Thankfully, you had put down a bucket essentially to catch any rain, and it's almost completely full by the time you get back, and you have to go dump it outside. But you spend some time and patch up your roof. You put this nice tar and shingles and this tarpaulin over it, just to really set it, and your nice little turf home that you have, one of the few places where there's actual like trees and growth and beautiful in this sky blessing that you've made your home. You can finally relax. Frizzlepfeffer like flies in and has like their little perch that they sit on, and you
Imagine in his house too. There's like a part of the interior of this little hut that's like this very cute, almost like grandma decor, but a little bit more druidic, flowery. And then there's like his work area where it's kind of a little more, you know, all the tools and everything sprawled out. It's in disarray, and that's where his kind of recliner, comfy chair is.
Yeah, it's split almost in half of this like nice little cute knickknacks and little, you know, things, and then yeah, there's like your work area.
He pulls out a little bit of bone, and he's whittling a small little owl, looking over at Frizz.
And you get to the point where it's like you're kind of working with your hands, and it's like that kind of soft moment where it's like Harl's actually, it's like you kind of doze off in your chair, like that kind of like just old man falling asleep in the recliner style.
Just in my eyes, Frizz.
And you do kind of gently wake up maybe about an hour later and kind of shake yourself off, like, okay, I should probably go lay down in bed. And as you do, you look out the window and you can see this glimmering light off in the sky. Now, you've spent a lot of time looking out to the skies. And you can see Frizzlepfeffer just kind of like boots, and like they seem very just as drawn to that same light as you are. And they kind of like hop down and like go out to the windowsill to like look up at it. You can see they like owls just and like cock and like turn their head way up to like look at it.
I see you too, girl.
This is a little different from anything you've seen, but given your background, I actually would like you to please make a wisdom save with advantage.
Yeah, I imagine he's also like, and like goes to like an old chest with some wood carved decorations on it, and it's gonna pull out like a star chart. It's like it's been some time, but there's not a lot new in the sky. And it's gonna consult that.
Okay.
Wisdom check though.
Wisdom save, and like I said, I'll give you advantage on this.
Okay.
Hmm.
17. Very nice. You look at your star chart, your like nice little maps of the skies, and you have a few. You know, like I said, given your history, it's like you've spent some time off exploring the skies. It's like you kind of know what to look for. And you like look up at it in the back of your charts and like back at the thing. And you can feel yourself getting tired. Like I said, you're getting on in years. It's like it's been a long, exhausting day. But you kind of sit down at the edge of the bed enough to like still look up at it. And you see it like glowing and shimmering in the sky. And then you see it flash brightly and then arc across the sky in this bright explosion like a comet just searing across the sky. And it begins to like move and fall down and down and down. And you can see off to the southeast that it arcs across the entire sky. And it seems to not just like move across the actual like horizon, but it moves down. And then it arcs, and far past the edge of your vision, you can just see this last little bit of it. And you realize this isn't just some star, this isn't some comet. Something tangible fell out of the sky and has landed probably about a week's travel or more off on the actual open steps of Bolarius.
I have a sense of what that might be.
Make a history check. Or I will say you could make a religion check if you'd like to do that.
Two.
Nice.
So you look at.
And he's got some other old papers in his chest. I don't know if there's anything that you might have, you know.
You look out at this, and you look at your star charts, your like maps of the skies and of Bolarius itself, and you look at Grizzlepfeffer, and you look over at all of the nice, beautiful little carvings you've made, the decorations, the memories that you have in this home. You remember that there's a legend off in the skies. There are these beautiful, inscrutable castles known as a Basilica of the Heavens, lost to time, lost to history and modern knowledge. Something so beautiful and unknowable. Far beyond where most, even some of the most expensive and high-powered airships can go. This is something that the people of Bolarius cannot reach a Basilica anymore. It's almost entirely unheard of. If there's any person alive that has ever seen one, you don't know of them. And you realize, you look up at this comet that seared across and landed on the ground. A piece of one just dropped out of the sky, and you know exactly where it landed. Go and get it. And think of that, and something in your mind, this deep sense of a beautiful piece of the heavens themselves just fell to the ground, and you fall asleep. And that's where we're going to leave off for today.
Cheers.
I could just top on that just to close. He's kind of looking at his walking stick, and when you look at the top of it, it's got this little carving of a female furbolg, and he's kind of giving it a nod. He's like, "Love this." Just an emotional reflection.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today in Skies of Bolarius. This is a Bolarius actual play for 5e. I want to thank my players for playing with us. I hope you guys had fun today.
Always, buddy. Always.
Absolutely.
And I hope all you lovely people in the chat had fun watching as we begin to explore some of the wild and crazy adventures that happened in Bolarius. Is just stuff like, oh, an airship crashed and now we got to deal with it. So why don't we from here we'll go left to right this time, and you guys can tell us about yourselves, and then we'll kind of wrap up for today. Chris, tell the people about yourself.
Hello, yes. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at C Leverett Art. Working on a lot of different, trying to chip away at all the different wait list of commissions I'm trying to get through when I'm not teaching by day. But summer, it's nice to be able to catch up on that and do some more fun stuff like this. So, I'll be here for the time being on Wednesdays and every other Thursday in our enchanting escapades, right? Some doodles while you do some words.
Yes.
With some fun stuff.
So yes, make sure to check us out tomorrow as we do another episode of Enchanting Escapades. I think that'll be really fun. And like I said, I love Harl's beautiful, sad old man. It like breaks my heart.
Jamming all the Pixars into him.
Matthew, tell people where they can find you.
Yes. Farewell, Wizards. I'm Matthew, MatmanDH, Twitter and Instagram. I'm a illustrator, cartoonist, and DM. This is Dirtbike. He wanted to say goodbye too, I guess. Goodbye, Dirtbike.
We love Dirtbike.
And I'm here every Wednesday playing Bolarius with Alec and the gang. And we also stream on Tuesdays. We're gonna have some new stuff coming up in a couple of weeks. We're working on that in the background.
We've begun planning a few things. I think we can safely say, at least the one teaser I think that I'm willing to put out there is it involves punks and cyber things. Is one of the projects that we have planned.
My decoder.
Oh, I hope it's what I think it is. I hope it's what I think it is.
That's right. It's Vampire the Masquerade. No.
Beans. And if I could put out a little spoiler, the other idea involves squid.
Squid.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. I'm very excited about the squid, but just figure it out or wait until we make an announcement. Omni, tell the people.
Hey everyone, I'm the last I'm going to touch your favorite robot American. As always, it's a pleasure to be here on Bolarius, playing Dorian, everyone's favorite, quiet, largely non-communicative, but still endlessly contemplative druid. I love this game. It's so fun, man. It's really nice to go into a situation being like, killing people isn't the first thing I need to think about. That's really nice. I'm so used to session 1 being a bloodbath, and it's so nice that, it was a rescue this time. That's great. Or, session 2. But, opening encounter. Thank you for that.
Say, I'm which infinite love to Red and Derek, but I'm not as bloodthirsty as they are. So
we're gonna
I can down. Be, but it's
in Bolarius.
I can be, but it's nice to have a change of pace. It's nice to have a little of both worlds as it is.
Yeah.
So you guys can find. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I could be a fucking monster, but in Bolarius we're gonna calm down.
Yeah. He runs a mean us up for the kill.
He runs a mean dragon. I can attest.
Yes.
Oh, I can believe that 100%. For those of you who are curious about me, you guys can find me on Twitch, my own. You can see that it's Twitch. Yep, there you go. There's the links. They popped up fine. Thank you, Nightbot. I'll be on later today at 2 p.m. EST, prepping for my Mouse Guard campaign. The second session, the first one at this time slot, which will be at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. CST on DMDM Studios tonight. Keep an eye out for all those promos. I'm super excited to run this campaign. I've loved this story. I've loved the work of David Peterson. I think he's made an incredibly cool, awesome universe. It's fun to explore. And I can't wait to have all my characters going off and exploring the brand new frontier, a game largely of exploration and survival. It's a pleasure to be here. Also to work with all of you. Seriously, this is a laundry list of every artist I wanted to work with on Twitter at one point. Truly. So thank you so much as always, man. It's great.
It's a pleasure to have you on me. And like I said, I know we've done a couple streams together. I'm really thrilled, and I've been trying to get Omni involved in our secret project. That
one day,
we'll figure it out. In the meantime, I will say Gainer will be joining us by end of July or definitely by August. But in the meantime, thank the three of you so much for playing. Like I said, I love Bolarius, and of course, all of you out there who like Bolarius, please check out. I think if I do at Wales, yes. If you're enjoying it, check out the actual setting guide made by Bogus Cheesecake. You can find him at bogus_cheese on Twitter. This is a beautiful setting with some really rich world building, and it's just a nice peaceful time. I promise I won't get up on the mic for an ASMR moment for the rest, but it really is lovely and well worth it. I think of all the setting guides I've ever bought, including like official ones like, you know, Eberron and Wild Mountain, stuff like that, this has been one of the most worthwhile I've ever gotten. It's so much fun. I love Bolarius. Like, for almost a year now, I've been like telling Tom or Bogus Cheesecake, I was like, I have to fucking do an actual play of this. I was like, I'm obsessed with Bolarius. So if you've been watching this, you probably know who I am, but I'm Alakazam, a pro DM, purveyor of all things homebrew. I have this stream, but also on Mondays occasionally I will do a homebrew stream where I world build live on air my own setting of Carathia. That one I basically do when I feel like it, because I have a life and mental health I want to take care of. But you can find me here every single Wednesday doing Skies of Bolarius. Like I said, Matthew and I are actually taking July kind of off for Tuesdays. We're not doing Appendix of Arcana, at least in, you know, we have some other projects we're going to be working on, but we'll get to those in August. And then every other Thursday I'm doing Enchanting Escapades with Chris, or I'm in Redemption VA's stream of his Cyberpunk stream, playing Duke, who might die next week, but we'll see.
We'll try to keep Duke alive. We're doing our best. I think we're doing okay.
But anyway, this is a total blast. I do have, like I said, I do have some exciting projects to keep an eye out for. So I think this is my links. Yes. And I hope all of you beautiful people are enjoying your time out there. And let's find someone to raid into. Who's live right now? Let's see.
Mashy, Planar Allies are probably both up. Let's see.
You know what? We're going to actually. I know exactly what we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid into Turtles and Chill, because we're gonna keep this calm feeling going. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and take time to rest, relax, cut back, and stay magical, my friends. Keep on
whizzing. No wizards.
All right, and we're clear.